What's up, good human? This is a little behind the scenes. I want you to come with me as we talk through and walk through what it takes to define a culture code to be able to attract and retain the right people for your team. This comes from a project that we're working on right now for a client who has hit their limit as far as a hiring and managing team. And that challenge comes with being the glue for the business, being the glue for the culture. And there's a lot to that. And I want to cover that, but I want to start, this is Culture Week this month, which is why this is important. Culture Week being the theme for content. And yesterday we shared this, and I just want to talk through this just briefly because it's going to give a bit of a frame for the work. So this is a shortened version of our electromagnetic brand framework, and culture and impact are fused as the nucleus of the brand. They're so important to work together, vital, right? They are the essence of your brand. They're what gets the most out of your team. And we're going to talk about culture specifically, and there are three frameworks within that. Each has its own process and tools and methods in there to get the outcome you want. So the first is define. It's getting very, very clear on your culture code, what it is, what it includes, like your purpose, your values, and your brand personality. The second part of that is uniting your team in the process, because if they're not invested, they don't have skin in the game, they don't own it, they don't care. They won't live it and breathe it. And it's important because especially for the next part of defend, that's where you build the processes and the language in order to call each other out, to celebrate what is appropriate and to remedy what isn't. So defend it. And when that half is working beautifully, it sets the expectation and guides your team on how to show up. And that is how your brand's perceived. And it also feeds into this storytelling layer, which is that's how you ripple all of that goodness out into the world. So this is the framework. And then if we talk about the problem being attracting and retaining the right staff, you've got how do you communicate what it is that you're looking for to be super clear so that you are not gambling with people and then having to replace them because they don't fit. Right? That's a huge problem, is hiring people with hope as the plan that they're going to be who you want them to be. Hope is not a plan. You can't hire someone based off who you hope they're going to become. And it's the same thing as you don't date someone or marry someone based off who you hope they're going to become, because people don't change easily. It takes significant either personal work or life experiences to transform somebody or stimulate that transformation. So let's look at this and take it from this particular business owner's case. He very much wants to have more people in his team so that they can do more work, do more impactful work, serve more customers, and so he can go on holidays. He works too hard. That's the problem. Leaders often work the hardest unnecessarily. But not unless you love it, right? But what if you've got the freedom to do more of what you love? Right, so the first thing we're doing, and we're doing this right now with him, is going through the process of workshopping with him how he'd like things to be on a good day. Right, so we've got our process to extract that data and then workshop that data. So we're in the second rounds of that. We've just yesterday completed workshopping the actions, the behaviors, and all that good stuff that sits underneath the values, because it's not enough to have a buzzword style value like honesty or integrity or trust, which are all important, all right? But they don't actually give a clear, independently guidable context piece for that individual, right? So if you help half your team do integrity here, right? It's not what it means to you, the word means to you or to them as individuals. What does it mean here, right? Because that shared understanding is everything. And I think that was something we posted this week as well. It doesn't matter what it means to individuals, it matters what it means here. So getting very, very clear on the expectation means there's no misunderstanding, there's no misstep, right? And then what you ritualize, how you breathe life into it. And part of this is workshopping, ritualizing. One of the things we say is no rock star got up on stage and banged out a hit song without hours and hours of rehearsals, right? So your team have rock star potential, but they also need to rehearse the shit out of it if they're going to perform it, right? Especially when times are hard. Like, values are great to have when everything is like beautiful, when it's all rainbows and unicorns, and it is easy to have great values. But when in the moments when they're tested, that's when it matters most. And that's what you've got to practice for. So the decisions are made in the moment, they're made right, and your team have been empowered to make those decisions, right? So having those values and workshopping them regularly, ritualizing them, breathing life into them is key. So Define is articulating what it means here. Unite is bringing your team into the process. It's also good to capture their input for the shaping of the values and workshopping them as a team, especially the significant realignment that has to happen. People's skin in the game is important, and the frequency of doing this as well, so that the espoused values, which are the values that you put in place in order to transform to, so it's the best version we're looking for in the next year, 18 months. If there's significant disengagement, it could even be less, right? So the focus out for our 6 months or 12 month, with the view that we're going to review them at that point. So naysayers that sat on the sidelines and went, oh yeah, but this time around when we measure how things have improved, they'll actually want to have a seat at the table. So it's important to do it frequently. And that's what we're going to do with this client, is review them in a year's time to ensure that those that superfluous are replaced with those that are going to drive the transformation that he's looking for to strengthen the culture. The other thing is building the language and the autonomy around not policing, but witnessing and realigning behaviors. Because if the group has gone unchecked, but all behaviors accepted because there hasn't been a framework for them to act the way that the brand wants them to, then there's going to be moments of realignment, and having that process and that language and that shared agreement to do the work and to take feedback, then you can. And it has to be team on team, and it has to be respected with a great degree of humility. So that's it. Define, unite, and defend, right? And I'm excited to see the outcome for this particular business, how they're going to grow. As a result, we've seen it work and transform. It's so transformative to do this work. I'm a values consultant. I know the power of values when they're well articulated. Again, extremely contextualized, so they make sense, and your team can use them to guide their behaviors. So that's a bit of a behind the scenes as far as shaping values, particularly in order to enable a business to hire to fit, to realign and develop existing staff to fit, or exit them. And often when you become unapologetically the level that we want, those that aren't that level will opt out, self-select, no awkward conversations. And that's what you want, because the lowest standard you're willing to accept is your standard, all right? So set the expectations high. I love talking about this stuff. If you want to discuss how to realign your business or you want a hand with it, by all means, get in touch. Otherwise, until next time, be unapologetically awesome. Bye for now.